This video will go over creating a simple email template using the new Klaviyo builder. So you're going to log into your Klaviyo account and click Email Templates, Create Template. So you have two options, the classic editor, that's the old editor, and that I would say is better if you're experienced creating templates or you want more control just over the look and feel. The new editor is super easy to use. Everything is sort of laid out for you, and you really just need to upload your images, add your products, put in your copy, and then you're good to go. So we're going to try the new editor, create a template. And Klaviyo will pre-populate images and content here for you, which I feel like is really helpful. So you can just replace where you need to replace things. So let's just sort of go over this menu, and then we'll add in our own template. So you have two tabs. Content, these are all the different types of blocks you can add: text, images. This is if you wanted two images side by side. This is your button or CTA. This would be a link bar, like if you wanted your logo and then some of your categories maybe underneath. This is a drop shadow effect. I'll show you this really quick. See how it looks like a little shadow there? And then you can adjust the color. And then we have a horizontal rule, which is a line break. Social links, which actually already are added here for you, so you can add more, you can adjust them, but we'll go through that. A spacer, which just adds padding between your blocks. Products, which are your dynamic products. Table, which is a grid like of columns and rows. And then you can add different layouts here. You can add a new section, or you can add columns into the email itself. So let's go through and replace these images with our images. So I'm just going to delete this little shadow. You just hover over the blocks and then click delete. So now there's a little content block here. I don't really need it. That's from where I dropped in my shadow. Okay, so I'm actually going to replace this image. Actually, I'm going to remove this image. I'm going to remove all of this, and I'm going to add my own. And then I'm going to replace this whole section. So first I'm going to put in my logo. Oh, I need to add a new section first. So here I could make this whole section a background image, but I'm actually just going to drop in an image here. And then I'm going to click on it, browse for my logo. So here's my logo, and you can see it's really big. So you have some options in here to adjust that. You have display options here. Do you want it to show on desktop and mobile, or both? Here you have alt text, so I'm just going to say this is my company name, and this is my URL. Here, fixed width, if you have this toggled off, the image will grow or get smaller depending on the device. So I don't want that. I want it to be fixed, and I want it to be smaller. So I'm going to go with 250 pixels. And then now you can also see that it's bumping right up to the edge of the block. I actually want to add a little bit of padding. So I'm going to add just a little bit of padding here. So this is top and bottom padding, and then left and right. So if you wanted more padding on the sides. And then you can choose here to have it full width just on mobile devices, but I'm actually going to turn that off. Okay, so there's the logo. Now I'm going to go back, hit done. Now I'm going to add in an image, which will be like my hero image. Oh, I got to do a section first. So I'm going to add a new section, and then I'm going to add an image, and I'm going to browse for my image and just upload it from my desktop. So here, this is going to be my hero image. I'm going to have a descriptive alt text. It's really important that you add really descriptive alt text into all of your images. This just really helps with deliverability, and it also helps with screen readers and accessibility. You want everyone to know what this image is talking about, whether or not they can actually see it. So I'm going to say image of woman with eye patches. My URL. And then here again, if I want to control how wide I want this image, I can do fixed width. But for this image, I want it to be full width and I want it to be responsive. And then here you can align it left, center, right. I'm going to keep it centered. You could have a border here. Like say I wanted a red border. I could make it thicker. And then you'll see that border. Okay, I'm going to take the border off. And then padding, so you can either add padding top and bottom here, right in your block, or you can go back to the blocks, the content blocks, and you can add a spacer here if you wanted a little bit more room here. And here you could adjust, like if you wanted a lot of space, that would give you 50 pixels of space in between these two sections. So now I have my hero image here. I want to keep these two columns, so I'm going to replace these images with my own images. And then here, these just could be images from your website, or maybe images that you created in Canva or Photoshop. And then again, you're going to add in your alt text. I'm not going to do it for all of these, and you're going to add in your URL. And then here again is how big do you want these? I'm going to keep them fixed width. And then here you can just add a little bit of a heading. Maybe this is shop eye patches. And this could be some descriptive text. And again, you can add, say you wanted this to have a background color. You could make the block black. You could make the text white here. I'm going to keep the text black. And I'm going to remove that background color. And then, so we could do the same thing here. This one could be like shop eye cream. These could be maybe your categories. And then these will be linked, so you'll put that URL here, but we're also going to add in a CTA here. I can add the button right here. And here's the CTA. We're going to say shop eye patches. This would be your URL. And here you can set up how you want the button to look. I'm going to do like a pink. So here's my button. The other thing that you can do is change the shape. You can make it round. You can make it completely square. You can add a border. You could also do like a white background, oops, with a black border, and then make your text black. That looks good too. Like this. And maybe we'll do like a lighter, too light. Lighter font. And then I think these look good when it's like this. And here you can add spacing between the letters. Let's do like 5. So now it's dropping down to the next line. So you could either make your text smaller, or you could remove a word. So let's just say like eye patches. I prefer the text to be bigger. So I'm going to go to 16, and then I'm just going to remove that word. And then here, if you want, this is your padding. Let's go back to the top. So text, your URL. Here's padding, top and bottom, left and right. Let's see how big I can get it. So maybe you want it to fit the width of the text. You could do something like that. And then now I know I need to add another button here, so I can actually just duplicate this, and then I can drag it under here. And this we could say eye cream and put it in the wrong place. So it's just really easy to move these around. So here's eye patches and eye cream. And then here, maybe I'm adding another section or a category. Let's do this image. And then I think I have some spacing here. I think I want to add that below as well. So I'm just going to duplicate it with this, drag it down. Oh, where's my image? And replace my image. And then again, you're going to add your alt text for what this is, your link, decide the width, align it, add any borders or padding. And then I think I'm going to add the same type of text here. So I'm just going to duplicate this and this. And this will be, let's say, moisturizers. Okay, so now here I could either have the CTA, the button, going all the way across, or I can just keep it small like this. I can adjust the alignment based on how this block is laid out. I know a lot of people like to have their CTA centered. I really like them left aligned, so I'm going to leave it left aligned here. And then I think the last thing I would add into my template might be product blocks, which are coming in from your website. So if you have set up Klaviyo already, you've probably already added Shopify or WooCommerce or your e-commerce site. And so your products will be right here in products, and you can literally just drag these in. Maybe I even want it here, and use these to choose what type of products you want. Dynamic products would be automatic products from your website coming from a feed. So maybe you'll say, show my best sellers here. And you might not see what they are, but depending on your website, what's popular, what people are shopping, that's how these will be populated. And then they'll be dynamic. You can do a lot with these. I'm sure we have another video about this. I'm actually going to choose static. And this is where, say I'm talking about a specific type of eye patch and I want everyone to see the exact same thing, I would just choose the products that I want to show here. So I could search like eye patch if I had eye patches in here, and I would just select this, this, and this. I'm not going to add them here. This is not the right product type, but then they would just show up here. And then here you can show, do you want them on desktop and mobile, just desktop, or just mobile? So I'm going to delete this. And then the last thing you would want to do is just set up your footer. So here are your social links. Here's where you'll drop the URL. You can delete this if you don't have Twitter. You can add an icon. Let's say we had LinkedIn. You could put your LinkedIn there. You can add space below, and then you can also show a text label, like if you wanted the icon and the word Facebook. I don't think you really need that. And then here is where you style those icons. So you can make them bigger. You can change the color. And then you can change the spacing in between, so how far apart you want them. And then if you select this, when you're in mobile view, they will stack on top of each other. And then here, you could have a background color. So let's say we did these in white and we had a black background. Maybe we make the whole footer black. So there's some white space around here, and I'm guessing that's because there's some padding. So if we remove that padding, that gets rid of that white space. We can also turn this black. And then let's make the text white. And then now let's add some padding to the top and bottom. And actually, let's add some padding here too. Okay, so that's a nice footer. You can put whatever else you want. Here you could like drag in more text. You could put an image, like another version of your logo could go in here. And then now the last thing that I want to do on this template is I want to change the background color to be more pink. So if I click here on styles, this is the styles overall for the whole email. So I could have, for example, this area, this white back here, that's the content background. I could actually change the color. If I wanted my whole email to be red, for example, I'm going to keep it white. But what I want to change is that margin color in the background, and I want it to be more pink. And then here's the width of your email. You don't need to change this. So something else that's cool that Klaviyo added is here is that the corner radius, that is just the edges of the email, sort of like we looked at on the CTA. We can add a little bit of shape here if we wanted to say, see, we're making it round. Let's see how much we can do. Oops, I just added padding. Yes, so you can't do too much. Oh, I'm in the wrong section. Let's go back here. Okay, see, it's getting rounder. And so I might want to round it out since I have round images here. And I'm actually, once you click in here, it doesn't change automatically. So I'm just clicking in this white space. So that's as much as I can go. But I think that it looks nice when you can round the corners like that. And then here, margin top, that's the space between the top of your email and the actual background. So if you wanted to see a little more of that pink, we could add some margin here. And then here you could put a border around your whole email. Let's say solid, but then if this is not edge to edge, that's going to look weird, but that is an option. Okay, and then down here, this is your styling for text and headings. So you can set this at the beginning. I could say, I want all of my regular text to be Helvetica. I want it to be 16 because I like 16. So you can see that just made this bigger. For my H1s, I want them to be maybe a different font. Maybe I want them to be this font. And maybe I want them bigger. My H2, I'm going to do the same one. H3. And now if we go into here, if I set this to H1, it'll change the font to whatever you set in the styles. So let's change this to H1. Oh, this is actually overwritten here. So inside these 3 dots, there's this T with the slash. That's going to remove any formatting that's sitting on top of this. So I'm going to remove this. And there's that H1 that I added in the overall email styles. So if I cleared out this, now I've set it as a H1, and that was my H3 size. So it's now following the setting that we put on the overall email. But you can also just do it right in here. So if this is too big, you can change it. Let's try 28. Yeah, so you can just play around with it this way. So back in, these are again the overall email styles. So that's where we set all of our fonts, H1, H2, H3, H4. You can set your line height. So we're not seeing anything change here. I think it might be set, but you could do like double spacing here. I think 1.5 is good. And then here's your link colors. I'm going to do like a pinkish color because remember we set that footer to black. I want to make sure that my links are not dark because down here, these will disappear if they're dark. So just make sure it's a contrasting color. And then down here we have mobile optimization that's on. So just leave it on. You don't have to change anything. Let Klaviyo do the work to make your email responsive. And then here are some additional settings that you can apply to mobile. If you feel like maybe the font is not the right size for mobile, you want to see it a little bit bigger, you can override the overall settings here. Okay, so here's the email. I think it looks pretty good. Maybe you want it, I think the last thing I would add maybe is a little bit of text here. And then here we can just center it. So it's pulling in the font that I selected. So let's try the H2. And then I just want a little bit of space above here. So I'm going to add that. And then maybe I'll add a CTA as well for that top section. There we go. There's your email. So it's really easy to set up, and then you save your template. Now you can use this over and over again and just swap out what you want. Swap out the copy, the URLs for your CTAs and your images. And it's pretty quick to create a campaign from this each time you're ready to send an email.